Hello people of the internet, or more likely people of Black Desert, and welcome to another Black Desert patch notes. It's time to see what we got this week in terms of Christmas events, and also I'm going to try to keep the video a little bit shorter as I promised on the previous one, so I'm going to be skipping the irrelevant stuff. Now let's begin and see what has changed since the previous week. So we start up with events. This time we got 3 different events, which are basically the Christmas ones, and the first one is called Grandpa Kron's Gifts, which basically is I believe the same event as we got the last year, where the flying sledge around the main cities is going to drop every now and then some gifts, which you can pick up and get these rewards. If you are looking to get some decorations for your house, or maybe some extra skill experience scrolls, then maybe stick around and try to hunt for those. The second event is called the Memorable Drop, and I believe this is probably the most exciting event we got so far, because everyone is basically getting annoyed to do over and over the relic and pilaf scrolls to get memory fragments. So I believe this is the first time in the BDO history where we are going to get memory fragments as drop rates from monsters, fishing and gathering. So I'm quite interested to see how many you can get, for example, from 1 hour of gathering, but at least for this event period you can get memory fragments by grinding. It's funny how I made a video on the relic scrolls about 5 days ago, and someone even commented that we should get memory fragments as drops. So either someone is watching my videos, or the developers actually knew this was an issue. So yeah, for this Christmas you're not going to have to do relic and pilaf scrolls, you can just go and grind your soul out to get memory fragments. The third and last event synchronizes very well with the second one, because if you want to go and grind your soul out to get memory fragments, you can also get golden daggers in the same time. And the same goes for gathering and fishing. So this Christmas you're going to most likely make a lot more money if you decide to spend your holidays playing this game. After these 3 main events we got some smaller ones, which are the winter event background, so basically the Christmas trees and everything else that was added in the main cities. Then we have in Valencia the debuff was removed for this event period, so if you want to grind in Valencia you don't need to bring those items to remove the desert debuff. Then we have the fireworks event, which is going to happen only in Velia, I believe, and this is only going to be for the New Year's, so if you're going to be logged in at that time you can basically see fireworks in the Velia city. And the Black Spirit Adventures has ended, so for this Christmas no more dice rolling. Next we have the content updates. So from here the first interesting one is the desert trading buff, which was changed from Master 2 to Artisan 2. So now if you want to trade in your valuable crates you can get the full profit for them faster, since it's much easier to get Artisan 2 trading than it is to get Master 2. This might be annoying for people who actually did work to get their Master 2, but for those who don't have it yet, it basically made it a lot easier to get the full profit. After that we have the changes to the night vendor, so now you can get Kutum items from the night vendor if you get lucky enough, and all of the blue awakening weapons were taken out. So now you don't get blue awakenings from the night vendor anymore, but instead you can get Kutum weapons. Another interesting change is to Red Battlefield, where you can now start the game with only 2 people instead of 10, so instead of being 5 versus 5 you can now start 1v1 battles in Red Battlefield. Moving on, NPC updates, nobody cares about that. Then we have sound updates, basically the holiday themed music was added to the main cities if you want to listen to those. And after that we move into class changes, which is basically the most interesting part of the patch notes besides the event section. From here, let's go quickly through the changes and see what classes got any buffs. Besides the fix, which basically any class gets every week, we got Berserkers, which now are going to make a screaming face when they transform into the beast form, so pretty much not useful for those who actually play Berserkers because you only see your character from behind. More fixes, and we get to Musa and Meiwa, which got again stamina requirement for the skill Retaliation was removed. So even more buffs, I believe, for these classes, because they actually do use a lot of stamina. Next we have Ninja, which seems to have quite a few buffs, and the most important one, or the most interesting one, is the basic AP of Ninja at level 60 has been increased by 21 on average. So this is the same one we got on Musa for the past week, where they buffed the PvE damage but they nerfed the PvP damage to basically balance the increase in attack power. So I believe their PvP damage should be about the same, but the PvE one was increased. Next up we have Meiwa with the same exact AP increase for PvE and a few more fixes and movement speed buffs. Next, Striker and Mystic with fixes, and we are about done. Next up we have the item changes. The first one is on elixirs, where it seems like now you only get one buff item instead of 4 or 5 for every single buff the elixir gives you. So maybe in the future you are only going to see 10 buff items or something like that on the enemy, instead of having a buff bar that doesn't seem to end. And also for the main elixirs you are going to get some special effect when the buff is applied. So that one seems interesting. Maybe your character is going to glow in purple, red or green and make it look somewhat more interesting. Crown Stones will be applied to accessories and Corsair Awakenings. I'm not sure what that one implies, because I'm pretty sure you were able to use Crown Stones on accessories before too. Anyway, moving on from that, we have some more uninteresting stuff and we get to Pearl Shop updates. It seems like you get a holiday sale, so if you want to buy something from the Pearl Shop, it's probably the best time to do it now because you're going to get some discounts. For me this is not an interesting category, so moving on, we have monster changes. From here the most interesting part is where they nerfed some of the trace drop rates by actually 50% in Valencia and Camasilvia. So can you guys let me know in the comments if you actually did grind a lot since the past week in Valencia and Camasilvia, and do you actually know what was the drop rate for these traces? Because I know I didn't grind there, but I wasn't expecting this buff to actually get nerfed this quickly, since on the previous week we got a buff for all of these traces, and I actually even thought that unless you get maybe 100 of them in 1 hour, it's not going to make such a big difference in terms of money income. So I really wanted to know why they nerfed it by 50%. In any case, moving on, we have quest changes for which I really don't care about, but the first line seems to be at least somewhat interesting because they say combat promotion at Uncomfortable Theater can be accepted by characters with level 55 or higher. So if this is a new combat promotion quest, then it is quite useful, but if it is the same one that you can get at Sarma Outpost, then I have no idea why it is in the patch notes. In any case, I don't really care about the other quest changes, so we have interface changes. From here there's a lot of stuff which I could care less about, but we have one line that seems at least somewhat interesting. The maximum number of stackable items that you can buy will now automatically be calculated from your character's weight limit and your remaining balance, storage balance. So if this means that now I can just go to the marketplace and press max and automatically buy the items until I get to my 100% weight limit, then it is good news, but if not, then I don't see the point of this. With that, the patch notes are pretty much done, and that's good news for me because my voice is going out the window, since I actually slept with my windows opened last night. So to make a short recap, this week we got the memory fragment drops, the golden items worth 5 millions, and the sledge which is going to fly around the main cities and drop some gifts every now and then. And also the trace item nerfs, about 50% nerf. Not sure if that one was actually deserved or not, but it's still here. Some irrelevant class changes, and the desert debuff which was removed for this event period. And I believe that's about it. Quickly before this video ends, there are some things that I forgot to mention or that I got wrong, and I don't feel like recording this again from the beginning. So from the Night Vendor part I said that the Blue Awakening weapons were taken out, but I forgot to mention that the normal weapons were taken out, but the Awakening box was included instead. So now you can get the Awakening box and then open it yourself to get the weapon that you want. And from quest changes there is one important one that I didn't even see, and that's the Black Spirit gift maid that you're going to get at level 52. So once you hit level 52 you can choose between a storage or a transaction maid, and you can basically get this one for free once per account. This is actually very important because the game basically gives you a free maid, and I don't know how I didn't even notice it. So with that, I hope I didn't forget any other important stuff, but if I did, then oh well, patch notes are still out there. So if you made it this far, then at least I guess the video was somewhat helpful, and I will see you guys pretty soon in a different video that should be coming out also today. So see you later.